Is that a gram? New card. What do you think?
Whoa, very nice. Look at that.
Picked them up from the printers yesterday.
Good coloring.
That's bone.
It's very cool, Bateman, but that's nothing.
Look at that subtle off-white coloring. The tasteful thickness of it. Oh my God. It even has a watermark.
Something wrong? You're sweating.
Blizzard is weak at the moment, everybody. And I think Riot, this is not a conspiracy. I know this is true. Riot is trying to replace Blizzard. Let's bring out a card game. Let's bring out a hero-based shooter. In the week that all things are just going terrible for Blizzard.
Think about that. Think about that.
That's not a conspiracy. I feel it in my heart.
And they're like, hopefully people won't notice that we're also owned by Tencent.
yeah.
Hopefully we'll get away with it.
China.
So obviously this has been a huge announcement for Riot. It's pretty much the largest announcement we've ever seen from a single games company in one drop. It was really ridiculous how many things were shown here.
It's the most of the most.
It really
games
is.
Ever.
We wouldn't have done an episode on this had it not been so crazy. Even if you don't pay attention to League of Legends and Riot, I think it's kind of interesting to hear about this stuff. So we're going to cover it today. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about Riot's takeover of the gaming world.
Okay guys, so these secret projects have been, in the works for some time now. There was rumors here and there of maybe a fighting game, maybe this and that from Riot. We've all heard it before. Yesterday was revealed not only one game in the works, but like 700.
85 games.
All right, 76 games in the works, okay?
Nice.
Now, we're going to get through them, but where do we start? So let's start with the actual League of Legends mobile/console port, Wild Rift. It's coming early 2020, okay? I'm very excited about that. I'm so surprised that we haven't seen some sort of mobile port already for League of Legends. Now, I've seen other MOBAs on mobile that have been completely crushing it, especially in other parts of the world like China and whatnot. China, okay, so it's definitely a market they need to tap into. I think it's going to absolutely crush it, especially if they bring it, hopefully, to, all the consoles, in terms of crossplay and all this kind of stuff. It just feels like it can be a gigantic success if it's done right.
Yeah, I agree. It almost seems like, oh, what? There wasn't already a console port for this game? Like, yeah, it just seems like it makes too much sense. They did show some gameplay. They showed you, like, the controller scheme you can see in the bottom right there with the UI, etc. You can imagine this is going to work fine. Like, obviously it's not going to be as precise as a mouse and keyboard. But you can imagine that this is going to be just fine and that people will make do and they'll do really well out of it. So that looks cool. On mobile, I think it's going to be a different story. But hey, there are some people that like playing MOBAs with their fingers on a touchscreen. I think these people are crazy.
Yeah. I've seen people actually like doing like MOBA tournaments with mobile, and some of them are pretty good with it.
I've seen people finish Dark Souls with a guitar from Guitar Hero.
I have seen that too.
While playing it with their foot. So just because one dude can do it doesn't mean that we can do it, okay?
True.
Either way, that's exciting, and I'm looking forward to that, because I did play League back in the day for a few years.
A few, days.
I was never, like, massive into League. Like, I was never, like, whatever.
Oh,
but
you played every night for a solid period of time.
For sure, but I was never, like, a high diamond fucking challenger level player.
Like me, I get it, yeah.
Sam was bronze. I was gold.
Yeah.
Sam's like, can we play together, bro? And I'm like, no, don't talk to me. Next up, they actually announced an esports manager game. You know how you have, like, Football Manager? This is, like, nerdy esports manager.
There's also like a YouTube video game now. Do you know that?
Yeah.
I mean, where are we getting to this now? There's YouTube Simulator, there's esport manager. My God.
But like, it makes a lot of sense because sports simulation games, like management simulation games, have been huge for a long time.
Yeah.
Football Manager, like, literally ends more marriages than anything else put together. And so it's not surprising this way. They've already done a fantasy league in the past on their website, whatever else. They've been running that for a number of years. Now it's going to become its own game. That seems cool.
It'll be very successful,
I have
I'm sure.
no interest in this product.
Absolutely not.
But I'm sure that lots of people do.
I've never been the management game type though, so
No.
people that want to go out there and buy those management games, I'm sure you'll lap this stuff up. So they've obviously done the research, they've seen it before, it's a good track record, it totally is a thing that people want. There's also an anime called Arcane or
Yes.
something. They've also...
Will they have TIG
I
anime
wanna
biddies,
see
though?
that, okay?
I suspect no TIG
There's
anime
going to be some
biddies.
Rule 34 of that shit, okay? We just know that's going to happen,
Dude,
okay?
there's what League of Legends Rule 34 is the richest
I know, that's
Rule
true.
34 lore in existence.
How would you
okay?
know that, Ralph? That's very
What?
interesting.
What-
Very
what's-
strange.
I said, don't disturb you. I'm cleaning my room.
There's also something called Teamfight Tactics. Now, apparently it's a big thing. I haven't actually played it on PC. It's also now coming to mobile.
Teamfight Tactics, Dota Underlords, these games have been massively popular, and now we get to play Teamfight Tactics on our phones. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
So that's that. Then I think this is where we start getting into more interesting territory about what comes next for Riot Games. So, first of all, it's been long rumored that Riot was working on a fighting game. This was a rumor, now we know it is a fact. Project L is what it's called right now. It's still pre-alpha, but we did see some very quick snippets of gameplay with two people fighting with like Darius and someone
And
else.
Caitlyn or something.
Caitlyn?
There was a few other people in there too, yeah.
So, it looks pretty cool, can I
mean,
say?
it kind of looks like it's going down the route of the whole kind of Street Fighter-esque looking thing. I think it's not going to take itself overly too serious. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. It looks great. There's probably going to be a giant esports community around that, but we'll have to see what they do with that.
I think this is really a theme running through all of these announcements because, you know, everything that Riot's announcing right now is esports ready. They are games and platforms that could immediately make the leap to esports. And that also flows into the next announcement, which is a card game called Legends of Runeterra. It's basically like Hearthstone, but it's the Riot version, I guess.
I mean, look, as long as it's not the Artifact, okay? We don't
Yeah.
want to see an Artifact-style card game, please.
Mate, you're offending the 30 people that currently play
Sorry.
Artifact.
Well, at least it's not 7 people like Anthem on Twitch.
This
You
is
saw
true, I did
those?
see that actually.
Hey! You two, huh? Hey, I know a good yogurt place.
Get away from me, loser.
So look, who knows? It's a gigantic market. It's probably very small on development costs. I'm assuming that, but it's a card game and a 2D platform. I think it's going to be just such a money maker with such a huge brand behind it. They have a very big shot of actually making that work.
For sure.
Hopefully they do. Who knows?
Sure. Maybe they'll make
That
a card
would be sick.
with Free Hong Kong written on it. Do you think they'll do that, Sam?
I think that'll be a legendary
Drop
card.
that. Shoo, Free Hong Kong.
I don't think Tencent is going to do that, actually.
I don't think they're going to do that
I
either.
don't think so at all.
And that also flows into the next announcement. Well, sort of semi-announcement was a game called Project F right now, and it wasn't really much talked about. It looks like... Okay, it looks like an ARPG. It essentially looks like, Diablo-esque, but with like Blitzcrank running around. It has been described in rumors and the like as an MMORPG, so it's hard to reconcile those two things and whether or not it's actually an ARPG or an MMORPG, we don't know.
Yeah.
But either way, I would definitely be down for some kind of role-playing game in the League of Legends universe.
Definitely.
That definitely interests me.
It sounds like, apart from the shooting game, which we'll get to, it sounds like a lot of these can definitely fit within the LoL world. And it might be a really smart thing for them to do. Yes, we've seen now footage of the fighting game. If they're going to be doing an RPG with that, or if they're going to be doing a card game that leans into that already created universe, it just makes sense, There's just so much rich lore, such a giant universe already created. I just hope that they actually do that,
So lastly, and I think the one that I'm personally most interested in and most excited about was the announcement of Project
Overlol.
A? Was it A?
A,
This is
Project A.
Okay,
Project
Project A is a tactical hero shooter. Now, they did show some very brief gameplay of this. It looks like a cross between Rainbow Six Siege and Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike, because it's got the whole, one-shot, one-kill kind of gunplay. Rainbow Six, because it's got, obviously, class-based abilities in a tactical setting. Overwatch and Team Fortress because it's got like cartoony graphics and class-based sort of thing. So it's a real intersection of a lot of really awesome games, and there's nothing else really like this, I don't think.
That's the question. I mean, like, is this like a new style or subgenre within the hero-based shooters? Maybe. We haven't seen enough about it, but like, is this just going to fit into the normal hero-based shooter? It doesn't really look like that because it does look a lot more tactical. But at the same time, it does look like it's leaning into an already established craze. You know, the whole the hero first-person shooter.
I mean, yeah. At the same time, Overwatch is definitely past its zenith. Right now, we're in the world of like the battle royale game, but Fortnite is cresting downwards. Obviously, it saw a 52% decrease in revenue over the last 12 months. Obviously, it just had its like Chapter 2, reveal, which was spectacularly successful. But you got to wonder how long that's going to maintain success, given the kind of like spinning decline they saw. Maybe Riot are hoping that this sort of game, this tactical hero-based shooter, could be the next thing to fill the void after Battle Royale. Yeah. I don't know. If they manage to strike it and do it well, like it could be huge. It hits that beautiful spot with cartoony graphics that are kid-friendly, while also being like a tactical game that core gamers would gravitate towards.
It didn't look like it was overly taxing, in terms of the actual graphics.
It's like you run on a toaster.
And that's been part and parcel of, getting out there to the masses in terms of League of Legends and maybe Fortnite even for that matter. I mean, it's not overly taxing. If they can replicate that, they've done it before in terms of like making just worldwide phenomenons with League of Legends. Hopefully they can do it again. But, I would feel like if this is done right, it's going to give Overwatch a run for its money.
Definitely agree. Okay. Sorry, Jeff from the Overwatch team.
Sorry, Jeff.
So, look, this, as we said at the start, I think it's like the biggest single announcement I've ever seen from a game studio all at once. And you really have to wonder whether or not it's a bit too much, in the sense that, like, they've committed to a lot here. This team is obviously spreading itself extremely thin across all these projects. It's good to know that they're not rushing them. They've been in development for a long time and they haven't committed to release dates for most of them. But at the same time, it does feel like a lot of stuff, and I really wonder, are they going to be able to deliver all this, and is it going to be good?
Yeah. Look, 9 times out of 10, when they're going to be announcing anything, it's definitely when they are super confident that this is going to be something that they're going to release. We have seen cases where games never come to fruition.
StarCraft Ghost.
All this kind of stuff does happen. Having said that, when we say that they've spread themselves thin, I mean, they've got endless cash, It's like Riot makes
China dollars.
So much China dollars. They've got so much manpower there. They obviously maybe want to make a statement like, hey guys, we're not only trying to make one game or two, we want to make sure you guys know that we're really looking to maybe become a publisher. We want to, become an actual known brand that makes multiple types of games, not just one here and there. That's the only reason why I think that they would do such a big announcement.
Yeah, it's interesting. Obviously, all of these games are esports ready. Riot already dominates the esports scene. I mean, we think that, like, Fortnite is big and whatever else. It is, but like, when it comes to League of Legends, when it comes to esports, League of Legends is the absolute king by a country mile. They're looking to solidify that sort of like stance across multiple genres with games that they publish. I mean, look, it's a smart strategy. I wouldn't put it past them to be successful. We'll see. Either way, that's the latest update from Riot and their new strategy to take over our video games. Don't forget to not comment on anything, because censorship. You just keep your damn mouth shut,
I don't
okay?
know where you're going with that. Anyway, guys, leave it out.
Here we go, off the rails. Don't you know it's time to raise our sails? It's freedom like you never knew.